Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. So today I want to do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison with my Native Slayer Max 12.5 and my Old Town Sportsman 120 PDL. I want to talk about just a couple of different things: pricing, stability out on the water, being able to transport them, the maneuverability out on the water, how you can rig them, and different things like that. Those are some of the things I'm actually going to talk about today. The way I'll do it, as we get to each point, I'll discuss with both of them. So let's start with price. Both of these brand new are about the same price. Now, the thing about kayaks, as long as there's no holes, no deep gouges and scratches, and no fixtures missing from it, kayaks really don't lose their value too much. You can typically find a used one, and that's what I have done with all of my kayaks except the very first one. They were all used, and I just checked them out. There was no holes, no scratches, no big scratches. You're going to find that as you go to look for kayaks, and if they're used, you're going to have some scuff marks and different things like that. But as long as the plastic on it doesn't give or anything like that, the kayak is fine. So brand new, you're looking at between 25 and 28 depending on the model with each one. And then used, you can go from 22 down to about $1,800, $1,700 for either one of these. It just depends on your area, where you're at, whether you're in Florida where you could fish all year round, or whether you're up north and you can only have a certain time period for fishing. As far as transporting these, they are both pretty easy to transport. All right, as far as weight, I will tell you that the Old Town Sportsman is definitely lighter. The Native Slayer, just an average weight, is 10 pounds more than the Sportsman. So if you have to pick it up on a car top, or loading up kind of high, this will make a difference. This thing is a little bit heavier. For me, when I first purchased my wife's kayak, which is the same one, I could tell how much of a difference it was. That 10 pounds at the end of the day makes a big difference when you're trying to load them. So the drives are about the same weight, and so transporting them, this is easier to transport. The Old Town Sportsman is definitely a little bit easier to transport. Now, I will tell you, it's not that much of a difference when you're first loading it up. As long as you take all the stuff off of them, put them on, it's pretty easy. As far as stability on the water, both of these platforms are extremely stable. With the Native Slayer, this is 12.5 feet long. With the Old Town Sportsman, it's 12 feet long. That half a foot makes a difference depending on where you're fishing. If you're fishing around tight structure, this is going to help because it's a little bit shorter. But if you're going through waves and choppy, both have V-holes and they will cut through the water very well. But as far as getting over long waves, this will help. That extra half a foot will help you get over waves, but you're not going to have a problem with either one of them. Now, where it makes a difference is that the Native Slayer is 34 inches wide and the Old Town Sportsman is 36 inches wide. Believe it or not, that 2 inches makes a difference. And the way that they're set, I will tell you, I have a video. My wife actually flipped out of her she had an Old Town Sportsman just like mine, and she flipped it. She did not keep her head centered. She was new to kayaking at the time, and so she reached over and flipped over in her kayak. So I will tell you, standing and fishing you can do with both of these. I have done it, no problem with either one of them. But the Native Slayer is not as stable of a platform as the Old Town Sportsman. Just being out, and myself, I've been fishing kayaks for 4 years now. That's not a long time by any stretch of the imagination, but my experience, this one is a little bit more stable. As far as maneuverability, I will tell you this: Both of these kayaks maneuver very well, whether I've been in the river, I've been mainly inshore fishing around, you know, with winds and different things like that. Both of these kayaks handle very well. But what I will tell you, with the Old Town having the retractable rudder, it's more vertical up and down, and so whenever it turns, it reacts very quickly to any change of what you're maneuvering your kayak, and so that is a plus there. So with the Native Slayer, it has the horizontal or inline rudder, and so whenever you're maneuvering, it is a little bit slower to react. It does pivot, you know, really well. But I will tell you is that one thing that I noticed is that with the inline rudder that the Native Slayer has, if you just start pedaling, moving forward, you have to constantly change or adjust your rudder with your handle, because the waves will affect it, the wind will affect it. As your kayak turns, the rudder will turn, so you're constantly adjusting it. With the Old Town, I was able to just put my, and I did a test out on the water, put my rudder straight forward and did not touch it for a very long time, and just pedaled and fished, and it did not move, not one time. And so if you want to track straight, the Old Town will definitely win it on that. As far as storage space, the Old Town, or I'll start over here with the Native. The Native has this front compartment. So it has this box here that, you know, that you can remove out. It has the battery storage, so nothing will get wet in there. It seals very well, so the storage is very good. You don't have to worry about, you know, water getting in there. If the waves do come over your kayak, there are times that it will stay up along there and get in there just slightly a little bit, but most of the time it'll run off. As far as the Old Town, the storage, once again, very sealed. Here it's very sealed, but there is no compartment, or there is no like a bucket or anything to hold anything in there. But I will tell you, this seal keeps this thing so dry, because of the way that it's set up, no water is going to get in there, and so you're not going to have any issues with that. The one thing that the Native Slayer does have in addition is this dry storage pouch that's here, but I've never really heard of anybody using that for anything, because it's so far away from the seat, you really can't reach back there and grab it. So I mean, if you had, like, I guess a dry bag that you wanted to put back in there, you could, but then, you know, under the seat it has storage space. It has a lot of storage space actually underneath the seat, for boxes and all that stuff. And then as far as the Old Town, it has an additional compartment here where you can get to the inside of the kayak if you needed to, for rigging and different things like that. And then underneath the seat, it also has a little pouch there for underneath the seat, and then there's plenty of room underneath it there. So on the Old Town, you also have storage here on the sides, but it's not big enough for a tackle box. But on the Native side, you definitely have enough storage for tackle boxes built in already into the kayak. So I have to give the storage compartments to the Native side. They have just designed it a little bit better as far as storage. The pedal drive, both pedal drives are very efficient. And so let me start over here. The Native pedal drive, which is the 9-on-1 drive, it is super smooth. This thing is so smooth, it's ridiculous, and it's very effortless with pedaling. The thing that I don't like about it is that whenever, let's say you get to a shallow ground or something like that, and you have to pull the drive up, you have to undo this, make sure that the propeller is lined up. You use this to keep the propeller from moving, and then you can raise it up. And there are times that your pedal drive will get stuck if you're fishing shallow water a lot, and you could, you know, it could take a little bit of time to get up. On this side, the pedal drive is a little bit rougher. I could feel the clicking in the pedal drive for this one. It's not a bad clicking, but I can definitely feel a rougher motion than with the native. But on the flip side, as you can see, this is in the up position and it's stored just like this. Let's say I'm cruising and I get to a spot and I need to raise my kayak up. It's real easy to unlock this, pop this up, and set it in the groove, and it stays. And it is so easy to actually do that. This was one of the biggest selling points for me to get this, because it had that feature there. That's the one downfall that I do not like about there. The other thing I like about it is it has a built-in storage into the drive, so I can put my keys, my wallet, and my gimbal for my camera right in there, and it stays dry with no issues. As far as the drive, the native is definitely smoother, but for quick access to get it out of the water, the Old Town, I have to give it there. As far as the seat, being comfortable, I don't have an issue with either one of these seats. Both of these seats are super comfortable. I can fish all day in both of these. Both of them are adjustable, moving forward or backwards. You just have to adjust it a little bit more. So if your lower lumbar starts hurting, you just lean it back a little bit. If your upper, just adjust the seat and it'll be fine. You can fish all day in these things. As far as the cockpit, both of them have a lot of room. But what I have noticed is that the older 2021 model, which I have here, the cockpit is a little bit lower than the water level. So if you leave your scupper plugs out, you're going to get about a couple of inches of water, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of water in your cockpit all the time. With the Old Town, you don't have that whatsoever. Water comes in and it runs straight out immediately. So one of the last things I want to talk about is rigging it, being able to rig. Rigability is not a word, but I'm going to use it today. The rigability of the kayak. So you guys out kayak fishing, you see guys with big fish finders and different things like that, which, you know, if you're tournament fishing, they help. I have a small fish finder. I do use it all the time. And so you want to be able to put different things on your kayak, whether for convenience, whether for you have a YouTube channel like I do and you want cameras, or you just need different equipment. So that's what I want to talk about. The Native Slayer has tracks up and down the entire kayak. So there's actually a track here in the front where you can put cameras and stuff up here. It has tracks on both sides, so as far as you're reaching here all the way back on both sides. It also has track mounts here. It has track mounts here, and then all the way to the back there are more track mounts back here. That is a huge plus for anybody that rigs their kayak out. They're just everywhere, and it just makes it so convenient that you're not limited to where you want to put your equipment. And so if you have boondocks gear like I do, it also has track mounts on it. The Old Town, I will tell you that in the cockpit area where most people will rig their stuff, it is accessible. They have everything right there. But that is really it. It's kind of limited. Now, you can also buy gear tracks that you can install further, you know, on the kayak, but you're going to have to drill holes in there. I'm probably going to end up doing that, to where I drill holes in my kayak to put tracks on both sides, and I'm going to do the same thing with my wife's. It is okay to do that, but I like the fact that it's already on the native. And I know I've mentioned him before, Nick from Navarre Kayak Fishing. He specializes in Old Town stuff. So if you go on his website, which I'm gonna have a link in the description below, he has all kinds of things that he has made specifically for Old Town. So that makes it a little bit better, but you want stuff that's a little bit more native to your kayak. All right guys, that is going to do it for me with the side-by-side comparison with the Native Slayer Max 12.5 and the Old Town Sportsman 120 PDL. So if I missed something that you guys want covered, ask me in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer. I check all the comments on every video, and so I just like to respond because I think your questions are important. So since I have both of these kayaks, I will be fishing in both of them. Like I said, I hope I answered you guys' questions. If you have any other questions, put them in the comments below. And if you did like this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you've never subscribed, go ahead and do it while you're sitting here. Go ahead and subscribe. And then share my channel with others so that way they can see the type of content I'm putting out. All right guys, till next time, remember, God loves you, God bless you, may He keep you. Peace.